Thinking versus feeling. Is there a difference? Keep watching to find out. Thinking. To me, thinking is where you analyze and try to logically figure things out. You try to make sense of things. Emotions. Thinking, feeling. Well, I'm trying to get my thoughts together here. Feeling is all based on emotions, in my opinion. If you see something that makes you sad, you might feel like crying. Something is funny, you might feel like laughing. Those are emotions that I associate with feeling. So what really is the difference between thinking and feeling? That's my thought on the topic. Honey?
Yes.
Will you please share with us your ideas on thinking versus feeling?
Your idea was very short. What's up with that?
Well,
I expected more. You always say, and more. And I go like just this short thing, short intro. So thinking, you say it is logical?
right. Logic, analyzing,
Okay.
trying to figure things out.
And emotions.
Emotions go with feeling.
Feeling is the emotion, the emotional part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so what you were saying, that's the difference between them?
Yes.
One, it's logical. The other one is
Emotion.
emotional?
Pretty much.
Okay. I get it. Now, based on society, this is a question for you. I'm interviewing, right? So based on the way society functions, when you think about someone being logical, who do you normally think about? What gender do you normally think about?
Oh, you're going to ask a gender? I guess men?
Right? That's the way society puts it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And why is that? I don't know the answer, by the way. I'm hoping you could tell me if you know.
I think because for hundreds of years, I would see that men were always looked upon as being like the scholars, the ones who figure things out, the ones who solve things.
Oh, that's a really good point. They were the ones that were allowed to study, is more
Right.
like it, right?
Right. And women were supposed to just stay at home.
And so then the emotional part, or the feelings then, is associated with
Women, typically.
And so when someone would envision a woman, what would they envision?
Well, there's a saying, women are the heart of the home.
Okay.
Because they're warm and they do everything based on emotion. If you want to feel good, you go talk to the woman of the house. If you want to express how you're feeling, you go talk to the woman of the house. So all, emotional things usually were just based on the women because, again, they stayed home and they took care of the household.
Okay. Is that where you get your definition then for thinking and feeling?
No, I was just thinking in general, scientists, mathematicians, and computer people, all those different careers are logic based. And if you're thinking, you're normally trying to figure something out, like in school. So you're applying whatever you have learned to figure out the challenge or the situation. Whereas feeling, well, you go to the movies, you go on an emotional roller coaster. You're happy one second, you're angry the next, you could be sad, depending on all what takes place in the movie. So that's where I was getting those ideas from of thinking versus feeling.
So you're saying
it's not based on history.
That as long as you have a career, you're working, then you're a logical person?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's what I associate it with because it's task and solution orientation in my mind. So if you're using those things, then you're thinking. Solution oriented. I won't ask what I said.
So, But don't you think there are careers where emotions are involved?
Probably, but my definitions came based on the general knowledge, the general way that I see society, that thinking in general doesn't matter who you are, if it's related to a career. Thinking is always logical and
No, I understand that, but I'm
analyzing.
talking about because you seem to associate thinking with career, with someone having a
That
career.
was an example.
Right. But is it possible that someone can have a career and it's not logical, that it could be emotional as well? Oh,
Yes.
okay. Like what?
I don't know. That's why I hesitated even saying
Maybe
yes.
maybe a clown, someone that performs in a circus, don't they?
There you go. Like actors and actresses.
Right.
Yes, singers, songwriters. I guess their careers are all based on emotion because you're moving the public with what you're doing, the performance.
I don't know about all of it because they still have to come up with lyrics and figure out how to write the music,
And a lot of lyrics
arrange the
come
music.
from the heart, from the feeling.
Oh, okay. Good point.
The logical part might be figuring out, okay, do we do this in C sharp or an F major key or whatever it might be. I think that's the logic part.
So as far as you're concerned, they're different. Those are two different things. They're distinctly different, thinking and feeling.
Yes.
Okay. In the spiritual realm, they're pretty much the same thing. There is no difference between them.
Okay, please explain that.
Right? I was waiting
Because
for your
me being
reaction.
in the physical realm here, they're different.
All right, so here's how this goes. Thinking, of course, you use the brain, the
Uh-huh.
mind,
Hmm.
is what we would say is very agile. It changes quick. It's like the wind. It changes direction very quickly.
Hmm.
So, for example, I could be looking at you, or you always tell a story about how when you saw me, you thought I was this mean person and that I
Yes.
did not like you, right?
Oh, yes. Hmm.
All right. So was that an emotion or was that your process of thinking?
I think it was a combination.
Okay. How so?
Well, my thinking was based on your behavior. You
All
were
right.
mean.
See, there you go. No, that's your perspective.
That's what
No,
I
I'm talking about. No, you
said.
said I was me. You said
Based on my
There we
perspective,
go.
you were
I just
mean.
want that to be cleared up with people here.
You're very to the point. I guess that's the word, blunt, and you didn't seem to care one way or the other if you know how you affected someone.
Mhm.
So I thought you were very cold and mean. Now, my feeling that I got from that was I shouldn't really deal with you.
So then why did
I
you
should
deal with me?
avoid you. Because I knew if I wanted to be successful and experience the success that you were having, then I'd have to be humble and learn from you and tolerate.
Tolerate?
Tolerate your behavior.
So then you got to know me.
Mhm.
What happened?
I realized, as you told me, you're British. You just say what comes to mind. You just speak. I was like,
You're blaming the British people for this?
I'm not. That's what you told me. That's the way we are. We're very to the point. Okay, then. So I learned that it's partly a cultural thing, and
Yes.
but you are very sure of yourself. I thought you had a super ego. I thought this man. But okay, yes. So anyway,
And then?
and then I realized, oh well, he does have some emotions. He has some children, and he loves them. He can be really soft and kind and caring. Yes, so
So what happened? Did something change about me? Did I
my
change?
perspective changed as I got to know you,
So what is perspective tied to?
your thoughts and your feelings.
But more the thoughts, right? But you hit it right on the head, as they say. Thoughts and feelings.
Uh-huh.
But I thought they were different.
Well,
You
they
just
are
put them
different
together.
because when I have the thoughts, well, maybe he's not as bad as I thought he was, and my feeling is, oh, I could be kinder to him and be more caring
Oh,
for
so
him.
you weren't kind to me?
I
no,
tried
didn't
to
notice,
keep my
but
distance from you. I didn't want to be around you much because of how you were.
that's fine. We call that someone being a chicken.
Bok,
Being
bok.
afraid. So now I extended this example. You'll see why in a moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the way this works, when I started out, I mentioned that thoughts and emotions are pretty much the same thing.
Right.
Okay, and of course, you're like, how is that possible? They're
Mm-hmm.
different. They really are, and here's why. When you thought that I was mean, how did you feel about that?
I wanted to avoid you.
So, were they different? Was your emotion and your thinking different?
The descriptions sound very different, but from what you're saying,
No,
they're
but
not.
no, not description. You thought I was mean, so what did you
Yes.
do?
So I wanted to avoid you
Why?
because I thought you were mean.
Right. So if you notice, you thought one thing and you acted in a way to confirm what you were thinking.
Okay.
So how are they different? We only have a short time for the video.
Because one was the emotion, one was the thought.
Even so, though, if you notice, they flowed the same way, didn't they?
They did.
Your emotion was, or your feeling was that he's mean. Your thought was what?
I
He's
should
mean.
avoid him. Oh, that's a thought. Yes, he's mean.
Right.
And the emotion was to avoid
Why?
because I thought you
was
were mean.
They're the same thing as far as you're concerned. The behavior confirms the thinking.
Okay, so then for example,
Mhm.
I didn't like the general manager on the job that I had previous
Okay.
to knowing you.
Mm-hmm.
He was mean. He was very mean. But with him, I used the golden rule and I tried to always be kind and generous and understanding with him. So,
We'll get to that one step at a time.
okay.
Got it?
Because that's where I'm getting this thing that they're still separate.
One step at a time.
Okay.
So if you notice, would you agree that what you were thinking was confirmed with your feeling, with your action that you took with regards to myself? I was mean as far as you were concerned, so then you avoided me. And you avoided me because I was mean. You don't want to be around a mean person.
Right.
So how are they different? They're not. Now, something happened along the way, and you start to think, oh, maybe he's not as bad as I think.
Mm-hmm.
So now remember what I said. Thinking is what? Agile. It changes like the wind. It changes very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Just like the wind could be blowing northbound, before you know it, it's blowing eastbound. It just does that.
Mm-hmm.
So all of a sudden now, your thought process shifts, right? Instead of me being this really mean person, all of a sudden, there's a possibility that maybe I'm not that mean. Still mean, but instead of being at 100%, maybe it drops to what? What would you say? Because you're the one that...
90%?
Wow, it dropped to
In the
90%,
beginning?
10%, 10% drop. Thank you very much.
It was very gradual.
So now it dropped 10%, right? So 90%. What were you feeling then at that point, if you can remember?
It was very, very gradual that, okay, he's not as bad as I thought he was.
How was your behavior affected by that thought process, or that change in thought process?
I guess I didn't avoid you as much.
Now you notice something?
Mm-hmm.
First, there was full avoidance.
Right.
All of a sudden, I think I can hang around him at least for a couple of minutes.
Yes, a couple minutes.
Right?
And then run out of his office. Oh, that man.
So notice now that you go from being super mean to 90% mean, but also now your emotions, your feelings have changed, where now your behavior is, I can hang around for maybe a couple of minutes or so. You see, the thinking is taking place here, and the emotions are confirming what you're thinking again. Because you
Okay.
went from not wanting to hang around to all of a sudden now you can be around even for a short time,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
Then it went to what? He's not mean, or what did it go to after that?
Well, after a while, it went down to like maybe 15%
Okay.
overall
And that was what?
being mean.
Okay. And then what happened to the way you interacted with myself?
Oh, I definitely spent a lot more time with you talking. It wasn't as bad. But there's still that 15% time where you would, when I'd say your mean self would come out, and I'd be like, avoid, avoid, avoid.
Okay. And so then you'd avoid, right?
Yes.
But if you notice again, your thinking was, it switched to what? Oh, he's much nicer than I originally thought.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden now, the time that you spend around me is more pleasant for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you feeling at that point about being around me or having a conversation?
Okay, fine.
So then how are they different? The thinking and the emotion. You notice again, there's a correlation between the two. You're thinking that maybe I'm not as bad as you thought originally.
Mm-hmm. So my emotions changed to feeling a little bit better about
Exactly. Got it?
you. Uh-huh.
Now, something must have happened because now we're married.
Yes.
Either you got drugged or something.
There's still that 1%.
That's a big improvement from 100 to 1. So there's no 1% what?
Of meanness.
Oh, okay. That's a good
Or
thing.
my perspective of it being mean.
No, it might be very accurate. It does not go away, you know. So now, but then, what is the relationship like? So how
We're
do
very
you feel around
close.
me?
I always want to be around you. If you're not around, I'm like, well, when are you coming home?
Right?
Why do you have to go?
I think just being, what do you call that? Clingy.
Oh, is
Is
that
what
what
that
it is?
is. Like that thing they put in the dryer. It's
What?
cling or something. Exactly.
Oh, the name of the fabric softener sheets?
There we
Cling
go.
or
Is that
something
what it's
like
called?
that?
Uh-huh. You're
I
like
don't even
that.
know
You
if that
just-
still exists.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well,
For those of you who are not familiar with the United States, that there's I think a brand of fabric softener dryer sheets called Cling, and that's
Right.
what my husband's referring to.
right.
I don't know if it even
It
exists.
clung onto the clothes or something. I don't know what it did.
I don't remember.
Anyway, so the point again is that, see, just using our relationship as the example,
Mhm.
I felt that it was a great way to show the difference between, if there's a difference between the two.
Now you know more about us.
So now we're at 1%, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we spend a lot of time together.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that? Do you feel uncomfortable?
Only when that 1% is on.
What person are you talking about? Anyway, so what happened from the first time we met to now?
A lot. A lot has changed.
as far as a lot has changed where?
Well, with me and
Okay.
understanding life, my perspective has changed.
So you know that?
I got to know you differently.
Did I change?
I'm sure you have.
I have. Well, I got older and maybe wiser. I don't know, but
You have learned to be more. I don't know if the word is. It's not conscious. Maybe conscientious. You're more aware of just speaking bluntly around people.
that's thanks to Mother Mary. Yeah. She's taught me that.
And she's told me to continue showering him with love so he'll become softer and kinder.
I know. That's not this
So
topic.
there-
No.
There has been change and growth in both of us.
But going back to the point, the
Okay.
point was that originally you thought I was this very mean person.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's down to 1%. How do you feel about it? You're more comfortable, right? A whole lot more comfortable.
Yes. Yes.
So notice that you're thinking about me being really mean is down to 1%. how do you feel about the whole situation? A whole lot more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So the two work together?
Yes.
One confirms the other.
Mm-hmm.
So are they really different?
The answer is probably no, but I think that
there's no
they're
right or wrong
different.
answer.
I think they're different, but they correlate. You don't have one without
There's
the
a
other.
correlation.
Yes.
Okay. That's a good response, actually.
It's you know.
But again, it's not a right or wrong answer.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go back to your example about the person that was mean, but then you tried to accommodate the person.
Right.
How does that work?
Yes.
Did that relationship continue that way the whole time?
In what sense? Oh, where I was always trying to be nice.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Okay. And so even to this day, that's the way that relationship. What happened with that relationship? Is it still there?
I quit the job and left the job.
Okay.
So there was no more relationship.
So here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to what I said originally, that thinking is agile.
Mm-hmm.
Emotion is very, I'll use the word because I used it earlier, clingy.
Okay.
Right? It takes a long time for emotion to turn around. Have you ever heard the story about bulls because of something with their knees? They run in a straight line.
No.
Right. They said that bulls can't really turn. They have to stop and kind of do a thing to turn around. They can't just turn just automatically turn like
their joints don't allow them to just turn.
That's correct. Right?
Okay. No, I'd never heard that.
Right. Literally, they will just keep running a straight line. They have to turn. If you ever watch a movie or when they're running, they have to stop and then do that whole thing about turn around before they can actually do the thing.
Okay.
That's the way emotion or feelings happen to be. So what will happen first is you will think something.
Mm-hmm.
You might think, oh, like you thought about me. He's a very mean person.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And all of a sudden you think, oh no, he's not as bad as I think. Your emotions, though, are still on that journey about me being this mean person.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a long time for the emotions to catch up. Well, once the emotions catch up, then the change takes place. So if you think one way about someone and you're wondering, well, I don't think they're mean anymore, but the way you feel about them is still the same, that's why. Because the feeling is still catching up with the emotion, with the thinking, which can just change direction like the wind. Mm-hmm. But emotions and feelings don't. They will linger for a while.
Oh, and that's the challenge that people have, are letting go of emotions, because they hold on to the emotions with situations and individuals. And that's when, okay, I'm not going to go off on a tangent here.
Yeah, no? So when people go like this, we broke up, but why is it that I still feel like I want this person around? Because the emotions haven't caught up with that idea that they've broken up.
Got it.
You see? Mm-hmm. And that's why my argument is that they are the same. But I loved your response about them being correlated. Mm-hmm. Because once you think it, the brain, it can just change direction. No problem.
Right. To me, it's like a fish. Fish is always with water. You really don't have a fish without water unless if it's dead. That's what my thinking was when I said they correlate.
Oh, okay.
If
you say so. So now, when someone thinks something, they're expecting the change to take place right away. Mm-hmm. That's why when people get involved with positive thinking or affirmations or decrees, they're saying positive things now, right?
Right.
They're thinking positively. Mm-hmm. But then they're wondering, why don't I feel positive?
That's right.
Why is the change not taking place?
Why is this stuff not manifesting in my life?
Why do you think?
Now I understand. Because the emotions have not caught up to the thinking.
That's correct.
The emotions are still in the back saying, wait a second, we didn't feel this way. Why do you want us to change the way we feel?
Exactly. I love that. I love the way you said that. All right. So once emotions turn, they change direction, and they go in the same direction now as the thinking, bang, things manifest.
Well, I see emotions very differently now.
So if you want to know how to manifest something, get your emotions to change direction quicker.
Yes.
So it can be in the same direction as you're thinking.
I need to go get those pivoting swivel wheels and put it on my emotions. Turn around much faster.
Does that make sense to you?
It makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Want to close it out?
Sure. If you have any comments or questions, be sure to let us know. Remember to subscribe and like this video. Join the Facebook group 190 Vision to connect with others on the same journey. Get help by visiting our website 190vision.com. Support the 190 Vision mission by clicking on the donate button, which is at the bottom of each page of our website.